I'm not the same anymore. Let me see.
That was the mother of Adrian Cevallos, who died after being shot with a taser by the NYPD in August of 2024. We've been investigating for months the use of tasers by the NYPD, and here is our full investigation, Shocked, how the NYPD embraces tasers.
The place he died, from all the taser, they pick up all of them, but they miss one.
Adrian Cevallos kept the wire.
Why did you keep it?
Memories. Bad memories, but...
It is evidence from the night her son died.
I can't sleep anymore. I kept thinking of him. Every single day. All the times. Why they kill him?
It was June 2020. George Zapantis, who was 29 years old and diagnosed with bipolar disorder, was dressed as a gladiator with a sword, an activity his mother says he did from time to time, hearkening back to his family's heritage in Greece.
Just step back with the sword.
He had gotten into a dispute with a neighbor. A bystander called 911.
Whatever you have on you.
The police came to the house.
Somebody go taser.
No.
Can you turn around?
Can you just turn around for me? But you can't come out the way you came out.
Yeah, but you guys, look at you. Look at your waist, bro.
Did you see me touching my...
Things escalated.
Get down.
Come on.
Get back.
Get back.
Come on, bro. Come out right now, bro.
Gotta stop. Stop.
Over the next several minutes, tasers were used by the NYPD at least 4 times.
Stop resisting. Get down. Get down now. Get down on the ground. Get down. Get down. Just stop.
Breathing, right?
And then Zapantis went still.
I'm trying to see.
Yeah, he's trying to pulse.
Zapantis had gone into cardiac arrest and died.
I don't think it's fair for any mother to go through like that. And I never wish to anybody.
According to an investigation from the state attorney general's office, 2 officers used their electrical weapons on Zapantis simultaneously.
Put your hands behind your back and stop.
Finding his total exposure time to a taser was about 35 seconds. That's more than twice the maximum time the NYPD recommends.
Arm, aim, threat, taser.
NYPD training material obtained by New York One through the state's Freedom of Information law warns against multiple taser discharges. And even the NYPD's patrol guide says exposing someone to a taser for more than 15 seconds can increase the risk of serious injury or death.
It's not a good thing to use the taser at all. And especially if they did to him so many times. They tasered him all over.
In a statement to New York One, an NYPD spokesman said the Attorney General's investigation found the officers in this case were, quote, legally justified in their actions. An NYPD internal investigation also found, quote, the officers' actions were within department guidelines.
Put him down.
According to the city's medical examiner's office, there have been at least 3 police-involved deaths in the last 10 years where a taser was a contributing factor. In these cases, the NYPD has classified these deaths as medical.
Wait.
The medical examiner's office has called them all homicides. No criminal charges have been brought in any of these cases. The most recent death, Adrian Cevallos, who according to the medical examiner's office had schizophrenia, was shot with a taser by police outside of his home in August of 2024 and later died from cardiac dysrhythmia. His death has not been disclosed until now. The NYPD has not released any body camera video in that case. For months, New York One investigated how the NYPD has used its conducted electrical weapons, commonly referred to by their brand name, tasers. In the last decade, the NYPD has more than tripled its usage, turning to the weapon more frequently, especially against people in mental health crisis. Through the state's Freedom of Information law, New York One obtained more than 730 reports detailing incidents when the NYPD deployed tasers on people in mental health crisis in 2022 and 2023. In many of these instances, the NYPD officers say they deployed their electrical weapons because the person was resisting handcuffs, refusing transportation to a hospital for psychiatric evaluation, or they were tensing up their body. Taser's own product safety warning highlights certain groups who may be particularly susceptible to the electrical weapon, like those profoundly agitated or under the influence of drugs. The NYPD acknowledges this includes people who are having a mental health crisis.
Does the NYPD think that people in mental health crisis falls within that particularly susceptible individual definition?
It can. It depends on the individual, him or herself, of course, right? The susceptible individuals that the department and even Axon Enterprise recommend you try not to use the taser on would include obviously pregnant women, children, elderly, and even people who will have a very low body mass index.
Axon Enterprise is Taser's parent company. They have not responded to repeated requests for comment for this story. In a statement, an NYPD spokesperson said any use of force during mental health calls only occurs 1% of the time. Tasers are used in just a tiny fraction of these overall incidents. Still, the deployment of these electrical weapons against Zapantis and others proved to be fatal. In other cases New York One examined, the tasers didn't work at all. According to New York One's investigation in 2022, a taser did not work on its first attempt in 35% of incidents involving someone in mental health crisis. The following year, in 2023, in 29% of cases, the taser did not work on the first try. And while about a quarter of cases involve someone violent with a weapon, in 2023, New York One's investigation found 73% of the people in these incidents were not listed as having a weapon and were unarmed.
You can see that
Officials at the NYPD say tasers are a useful tool if deployed correctly.
at the end of the day, the accuracy or the efficacy of any of the force options is really up to the individual officers. So how well they use the individual tools they have on them will dictate the efficacy of the force that they decide to use at that particular moment.
Sometimes that means the probes do not penetrate thick clothing, or the wires break or aren't spread far enough apart, or the officers just miss entirely.
Shoot the taser at his back! Shoot the taser at his
Still, NYPD officials say it's a tool worth using if someone is aggressive or resisting.
Taser, taser, taser. If the officers are presented with those two situations, that act of aggression or that act of resistance, if you will, a taser is an option that the officer is allowed to use. Make safe, break the wires, recover.
Essentially, it feels like you're being burnt from the inside out. So I used...
Angelique Korthals is a forensic pathologist and anthropologist, biomedical researcher, and professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
Through the skin. It's two wires under heavy compression that are sent out very fast. They're electrical wires that are attached to two harpoon-like devices, little sort of hooks, that hit the individual and deliver a 20 to 50,000 volt electric shock. What happens to the individual at that point is their central nervous system gets disrupted.
That disruption can be incapacitating. But in some cases, she says, the person's mental state can dramatically affect how a taser works.
The extreme psychosis has shown actually that the adrenaline level were heightened in the case of the tasing and actually caused cardiac arrhythmia rather than causing the disruption in the CNS, which is the prescription of the taser. In the lower scale psychosis, interestingly enough, we've seen that the taser is not as effective indeed.
So the Taser 10?
In December, the NYPD began piloting a new model, the Taser 10. The old model emitted up to 50,000 volts, while the new model has a much lower voltage, less than 1,000. Experts, including Officer Chu, who has firsthand experience, say it's still effective.
Taser, taser, taser.
It has more probes that shoot individually, meant to be more accurate.
It gives them more control over the spread of the darts.
They start tasing him.
Of course, there are some who hope there will be a bigger shift
Over here in the front.
to not use them at all.
That's my opinion. They took my son, they took my son's life away. They took everything from us.
He used to love number 9, and the color blue was his favorite. Yeah. And he's an angel, because he has wings.
She lost him on a rainy night in front of their home.
I'm not the same anymore. Let me see.
Adrian Cevallos had schizophrenia, and his mother, Monica Astudillo, had called 911 for help before.
It was like once a year, I will say, once a year.
On August 3rd, 2024, she called 911 to get him taken to a hospital for psychiatric care, and things went horribly wrong.
It was 2 feet away from me. I was just trying to control the situation, screaming at the cops, saying, don't tase him, because he's schizophrenic.
Astudillo says in the midst of a schizophrenic episode, her son was shot with a taser twice in front of their home. In security camera footage given to New York One by the family, you can briefly see Cevallos run from officers to abruptly collapse. Cell phone video shows him pinned down a short time later in the middle of the rainy street.
They tased him, and he just fell down in the middle of the street, and he started getting convulsions and starting to have a heart attack. And then he died in the back of the ambulance like a few minutes later. The ambulance took 45 minutes to arrive.
Cevallos, she says, had an undiagnosed heart condition. The medical examiner found Cevallos died from cardiac dysrhythmia, and the taser was a contributing factor in his death. It's a death the NYPD had not publicly disclosed until now, nor has the NYPD released body camera footage.
This is with the whole family.
The Cevallos family is suing the city.
I think he wants justice too, and we want justice, so these things don't happen again.
In a statement to New York One, the NYPD disputes the Cevallos family account of the incident, saying Cevallos had attempted to strike an officer and resisted restraint, so he was then shot with a taser. A spokesman said 2 prongs hit Cevallos' torso, but Cevallos removed one of them. The statement continues. This resulted in 2 subsequent attempts to create a successful electrical circuit ineffective. The NYPD says Cevallos was transferred to the hospital conscious and alert, and then suffered a medical episode and died. The spokesman said the department did not disclose the incident before now because it was initially not seen as a death in custody. To the Cevallos family, it's another example of how taser use at the NYPD went wrong, capping off a complicated history the department has with the weapon.
Taser, taser, taser.
We need to really look at the other side as well. How many other instances where it was actually effective? A lot of times, unfortunately, we often hear about the ones that did not work. There are instances where usage of it has been proven quite effective. But of course, we don't really hear about those instances as much.
For years, the NYPD had been reluctant to adopt the use of tasers more widely, following scandals and tragedy going back to the 1980s.
Can't tell you how outraged I am at this occurrence.
Cops were accused and later convicted of using stun guns to torture suspects in a Queens precinct. A young commander, Ray Kelly, sent in to clean it up, would later go on to lead the department. He looked at tasers skeptically.
There's a belief that they've been abused. There is a belief in some quarters that it causes death. So what we have done is use them in a more closely supervised fashion, having supervisors that use them.
After the shooting death of Sean Bell in 2006,
our hearts go out to all the family members and the loved ones who are...
A NYPD requested study by the RAND Corporation recommended the department expand its taser training and usage.
Case of a man who fell from an awning during a confrontation with officers.
Months later, a man was shot with a taser on the ledge of a building and died. The lieutenant who ordered the taser be used then killed himself. So it wasn't until years later, with new leadership at one police plaza,
the mayor and I have had several discussions about tasers, a significant expansion of the numbers of them.
And another tragedy highlighting police brutality. The department changed course.
Commissioner, I think I said this.
Former police commissioner Bill Bratton.
Why do you think the NYPD, before you came on, do you think that they were behind the times by not adopting them?
From my own perspective, I certainly think so. By 2014, they were in wide use around the country. And they are not a perfect device time and again, you see an instance where the officer attempts to use it and it doesn't work. And then they end up resorting to the firearm. But time and again, you often see when it does.
No longer would tasers be reserved for supervisors or specialized units. The whole department would be trained. And now the NYPD aims for every patrol unit to have one on every shift. New York One obtained dozens of reports detailing how much Axon, Taser's parent company, has spent on lobbying city government and the NYPD to purchase tasers over the last decade. That price tag, over $711,000.
So this taser.
During this time period, its CEO and founder was promising results across the country.
Whereas our regular tasers are about 80 to 95% effective in the field, this one was about...
The NYPD has never hit that target.
Aim.
According to the latest data available from 2024, tasers are about 61% effective when used by the NYPD. Axon has not responded to repeated requests for comment and repeated requests for an interview with New York One.
Find me another weapon in the police arsenal or any weapon in the world that has been tested anywhere near as much as Taser, because you won't find one. And you know what these tests have found? Everything we surmised from the get-go, that these are safe and effective, that they can cause injury or death under very rare circumstances.
Its CEO and founder, Rick Smith, has become one of the biggest names in technology and policing. Axon now takes in billions of dollars in revenue from tasers, body cameras, and other tech. The contract with New York City ballooning at the same time as the NYPD bought more and more tasers. In 2013, it was around $250,000. In 2016, the contract was $4.5 million. And finally, the last contract, signed in 2023, was nearly $55 million. All the while, the number of incidents where a taser is deployed tripled, far outpacing other large departments. In 2023, there were 7 times the number of discharge incidents by the NYPD compared to the Los Angeles Police Department, and 13 times that of the Chicago Police Department.
They are not perfect, like any technology, but anytime the taser is used and used effectively, it might preclude the use of a firearm.
But not always. From April 2021 through August 2025, in at least a dozen instances, a taser was used on someone who was still ultimately shot by the NYPD and killed, according to the state attorney general's office. In 4 of those cases, the taser failed to work or subdue the subject. The others are still under investigation, adding to a mixed record at the NYPD.
The one in the corner.
And it's a record the Cevallos family is hoping will change.
What does justice look like for you all?
Justice is, first of all, getting rid of that taste and not use it randomly like that. I mean, like, they have to have some kind of training to use those tasers. That's a New Year's right here. Nobody's gonna bring my boy back again. Nothing is gonna, but at least I'm giving a message to people so this doesn't happen again, because the loss of a child is horrible for a mom. It's horrible.
Sir, I need you to stop what you're doing. Stop right there. Wrap, wrap, wrap.
A lasso-like device shoots out with a bang. The company's leaders claim it doesn't result in serious injury or death.
Nice and tight.
It's called BolaWrap.
We employ a multi-sensory cognitive disruption. It uses sight, because when it goes off, there's a large bright flash. Sound, the 154 decibels. And then that tactile sensation of the Kevlar cord hitting your body at about 450 feet per second. If you start to pull...
Members of the BolaWrap team gave New York One an exclusive look at how it works. And they claim it's the solution to responding to mental health crises.
Put the knives down. Wrap, wrap, wrap.
They say it has been tried by police departments across the world.
Over 1,000. And I would say 500 are active, and out of that 500, there's 100 that are really active. I'm talking about the most actively used device on their belt, more than a taser, a baton, a gun, or pepper spray.
And it's been pitched to the NYPD before.
You have it wrapped like this, all of a sudden you're falling down. Your entire mindset is a different mindset. This is a damn good product, man.
Then borough president, now former mayor, Eric Adams, pushed the product. Frank Carone, one of his closest aides, had at one point a stake in the company. The NYPD didn't bite. BolaWrap is hoping they may now reconsider.
It was super early when we were just going to market.
It has been tried in other large departments across the country, like San Francisco. But in some cases, like this 2024 shooting, it didn't work. The San Francisco Police Department no longer uses it.
It's just not okay for the same technology for the past 30, 40, 50 years. This space has to evolve, and the training and policies have to go with it. And this is where we strongly feel like every officer in this country will be carrying a BolaWrap at some point in time. We want that time to be now.
As New York One investigated taser use at the NYPD, especially in mental health responses, examining cases where some were shot with a taser as they were transported for psychiatric evaluation. New York One examined alternatives too.
Wrap. Develop the next best idea.
Experts say there are not that many to choose from.
There are constant efforts to develop a better mousetrap, if you will. And some of those that I've been exposed to over time were devices that would shoot a net at individuals to encase them in the net. There's another device back in the 90s I looked at that shot out some type of goop that basically run around the person. And none of them over time proved to be effective.
I'm going to let the commissioner and the officers get back to work.
Mayor Zoran Mamdani has promised to get cops out of mental health calls.
In order for police officers to be able to do their jobs, we also need to create a Department of Community Safety that will be tasked with those responsibilities.
He is planning to start a Department of Community Safety and says he will boost the city's emergency mental health response teams. But details on how that will work so far are slim.
There's also de-escalation, verbal de-escalation techniques.
Justin Feldman, who has studied taser use by departments across the country with the Center for Policing Equity, a national nonprofit focused on making policing more racially equitable, urges the NYPD to use de-escalation tactics. Training the NYPD already conducts, seen in videos obtained by New York One through the Freedom of Information Law.
The goals are simple: to protect our officers, the public, and people in crisis.
As the new administration considers how it will direct the next generation of officers at the NYPD, some say there is no clear panacea. But they are hoping for a new approach to tasers.
I think if they're used at all, they should be only deployed to a small fraction of officers and should have very tight regulation and oversight.